Welcome back. The Aging with Options show is about seniors and for seniors and their loved ones. Our passion is to provide interesting and informative content for seniors and their families living in the Louisville area. I'm Chris McCutcheon, and our topic today is veterans and helping our country's veterans claim valuable benefits that are due to them. My guest is Tony Roberts with A. Roberts & Associates. Tony's agency will assist veterans in the area to secure these benefits, and Tony's been sharing about the services his company provides to veterans, and in particular the aid and attendance benefit. We were talking previously, Tony, that you mentioned that the figure is in the millions in terms of the number of seniors that aren't even aware that this benefit exists, which is staggering to think about that, and certainly so much value that's there can help so many folks. With so many senior veterans being unaware of the availability of this benefit, in your group, the American Association of Wartime Veterans, helps to, that's the mission of your group, is to help educate and communicate about this benefit to wartime veterans. And you mentioned that's in the millions. What's the sustainability of this program, the federal funding for this program? If you guys are successful in educating the millions of folks that don't know about it, what's the long-term future, the availability of the funding for this project, for this benefit?
Well, Chris, I can't speak for Washington, but and sometimes, well, I just can't go there. But anyway, it's been around since 1951, and there are certain promises, I think, as a country we have to keep, and for all the support we may have out there in areas that may be questionable, I think our support for our veterans has got to be real. I think we've got to honor that support. And again, it's a benefit that is, for the most part, little utilized. So to the total scheme of things with the VA, it may not be more than a drop in the bucket. But I know one thing: to each individual veteran that receives the benefit, it's tremendous. It's way more than a drop in the bucket, and it's a fulfillment of the promise that we made to our veterans for supporting our country, and I think that's huge.
Right. So your agency assists with this process. This is what you guys do day to day, and you mentioned before that the aid and attendance benefit is the benefit with the Veterans Administration that you guys solely focus on. The complexities, I think you mentioned that the application process can be as many as 30 to 40 pages. It can take up to a year in some cases to receive word back from the Veterans Administration as far as a veteran's application. Certainly you guys help to improve that process and streamline the process for veterans, making it a little bit easier, helping navigate through some of those complexities. How do senior veterans pay for your services?
Well, for the most part, 60 to 65% of the time they don't. Our advocacy and our group basically have taken a stand that we help all veterans. And a lot of times when a veteran walks in our door, it's a situation to where they qualify immediately. They just need to have the benefit applied for, and we help them to do that, and there are no fees involved. Sometimes there are veterans that, when we talk about one of the qualifiers, there's an asset means test, and sometimes a veteran's assets may be in excess of what the VA will allow. Then there's certain types of planning that has to be done. We have to protect those assets, and when we do that with the companies that we use to protect those assets, they pay me a fee, and that's how I get paid.
Okay. Very well. Tell us, Tony, what's a Veteran First community?
A Veteran First community, and I work with several of them in the Louisville and surrounding area. And by the way, if any of you are out there, you want to go to the website, you can actually see who our Veteran First communities are. The website is www.v1community.net. Veteran First Community is basically a community that stands alongside us and says, hey, look, we're going to put the veteran first also. So it may be nothing more than having us to host some seminars on their community. It may be that they know who their veterans or the veterans' spouses are in their community, and they make them aware that this benefit exists and how they may need to follow up to get it. Or it may simply be, Chris, that a prospective family that's walking into their community, or prospective family that's calling a home care agency may sit there and say, "Hey, look, are you a veteran?" And if they say yes, they say, "Well, do you know about this benefit?" And most of the time they'll say no. And they say, well, it may be advantageous for you to go attend the seminar and find out more about it. And so, again, they sort of stand on the same premise that we do. They put the veteran first, and that's the reason we refer to them as a veteran-first community. So
does a veteran have to be in a veteran-first community in order to meet with a member of your association, the American Association of Wartime Veterans, or your agency?
No, all veterans are welcome at our table. But I will have to say this, the veterans that are referred to us from our communities probably takes up about 90% of my time. So we have a full day and a full schedule in supporting our communities.
All right. So tell us about the guidelines for qualification. You told us a little bit about those in the earlier segment. Do those guidelines change very frequently, or do those stay pretty much the same?
For the most part, we haven't seen any changes with the guidelines, but we do know this for a fact. The VA will change what I call some of the backroom issues. And, they may come back to us after we submit the paperwork and say, oh, by the way, we need to have further documentation in this area or further documentation in this area. And, again, to people that aren't used to dealing with that, or maybe not used to knowing what type of language they need to put on that document to respond back to the VA, it can sometimes mean the difference between qualifying for the benefit and not qualifying for the benefit.
Okay, very well. Well, a couple more questions here before we take our last break. Once a veteran receives the benefit, does that mean that they are going to continue to receive that benefit on an ongoing basis?
Well, for the most part, the answer to that is yes, but each and every year, around the first part of December, everyone who is on claim, and when we say on claim, it means they're receiving the benefit, they're going to receive an EVR form. It's an eligibility verification report. And that form has to be completed back into the VA by the following March the 1st. If it's not completed and back into the VA by the following March 1st, there's a chance the VA could discontinue their benefit.
Wow, so there's somewhat of a reapplication process annually then.
To a degree. I mean, the VA is just basically sitting there saying, hey, look, we want to basically see if the snapshot in a year from now is the same snapshot as it was when we approved the app.
And are they reevaluating their financial position during that time?
Possibly. I mean, if a rich uncle died and left them $1 million, then they want to know about it, and that could probably cause an issue. But 90% of the time, Chris, they're just filling in the form, sending it back in, and everything continues on.
A valuable benefit and lots to know about it. The aid and attendance benefits we're talking about today. Tony Roberts is my guest in the studio. Tony is a certified senior advisor as well as a member of the American Association of Wartime Veterans, which provides services to local veterans in the Louisville area. We'll take a quick break. Be back again with the Aging with Options show and my guest Tony Roberts on 970 WGTK.